everybody.
Hi, guys. Well, from finally winter in Salt Lake City, Utah.
It's Thank God I'm Atheist,
The podcast.
I'm Frank Feldman.
And I'm Dan Beecher. And here we are. It's November, and fall has decided to turn into whatever it's turning into.
Winter.
It's been this lovely fall. I fucking don't like... I like fall fine,
Yeah.
but I don't like it because it always turns into winter.
Oh.
And that's not my favorite thing.
Yeah. I guess that's what's always looming on the horizon, though.
Yeah.
When it's fall.
Yeah.
Is
Everybody's
winter.
like, ooh, sweater weather. And I'm like, yeah, but you know what comes after that, right?
Wow, you're a glass half empty sort of guy, aren't you?
Not in springtime, I'm not.
Well,
see?
yeah.
I'm a spring guy. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
My glass is overflowing in spring. Here we are, though. It's going to start getting bad.
Well, good for you, Dan.
But we're going to go over the river and through the woods soon. And
Yeah, it'd be nice.
yeah. Anyway, what do we have coming up on today's show?
Well, later on today, we're going to be talking about solidarity with some people who maybe we don't feel a lot of solidarity with, but we're going to need it.
We're going to surprise you all. We're going to leave you in suspense on this one. Who are we going to be in solidarity with? Oh. All right. But before we do that, I'm going to take us to Germany.
Oh.
Deutschland.
Yeah.
Unter alles. I said unter instead of Uber. That's funny. No, Germany. I don't know if you know this, Franklin.
Yeah.
But there was this guy in Germany, went by about almost exactly 500 years ago, went by the name of Martin Luther.
King?
Nope, just Martin Luther.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Nailed a bunch of stuff to a door one day. Anyway, ever since him, there's been this idea he started the Protestant movement, and ever since then, among the Protestants of Germany especially, there's been this idea of Judenmission, which means the mission to the Jews.
Yeah.
And it's been all about sort of converting Jews to Jesus. And sometimes that's nice, or rather not horrific. And sometimes that goes a little bit askew for the Germans.
Oh, no.
I don't know if you may not have heard about it. There was this little hiccup they had in the mid-20th century that was problematic. So anyway, only 70 years after that, the Lutherans of Germany have formally given up Judenmission. They have formally the Evangelical Church in Germany, or the EKD, which is made up of 20 regional Lutheran Reformed and United churches. They have given up efforts to convert Jews.
Why?
Finally.
Why?
Well, the real reason is because after the Holocaust, leave them the fuck alone is basically what everybody wants them to do.
That was forever ago.
Okay.
Sooner or later, Dan.
But
No,
it's,
I do not mean that at all.
no. Yeah.
Lest I be confused with the alt-right.
Right. No. That is alt wrong is what that is. But no, obviously, the Jews in Germany might be a bit touchy
Yeah.
about Christians fucking around with them.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think understandably so.
Okay.
But it's taken this long because it's a little sticky, because the Bible does say some stuff that sounds like, hey, stuff like, you have to make disciples of all nations, that sort of thing, in the Bible. So here's what they came to. They've had to come up with a theological reason why it's okay to stop trying to convert the Jews. And here's what they've come up with. They've come up with other parts of the Bible that say that the Jews are God's chosen people.
As is.
already built in to the deal.
Batteries included.
The Jews are already God's chosen people. And if God chose them, apparently they don't need Jesus. So,
No.
So yeah,
No.
Yep.
No.
Their official policy now is we'll let God sort out the no Jesus thing for them. We'll just leave them alone, and they'll be God's chosen people, and it's fine.
Look how cute they are. They're God's chosen people.
They're adorable. I think God may have worked something out. I think he's got a side deal for them. It says so in the Bible.
Oh, then, boy, sign me up for Judaism.
You know, it's funny because when Luther first...
Wait, Christians will leave me alone if I'm Jewish?
Right? Time to convert to Judaism.
The best selling point for Judaism ever.
Right, yeah, exactly. The Protestants will leave you alone. That sounds amazing. That sounds pretty fucking good. Martin Luther originally, when he started his crusade, he was concerned for the plight of the Jews in medieval Europe. He wanted, but here's the thing: he kind of changed his tune later in life.
Okay,
amazingly, he wrote a treatise called "On the Jews and Their Lies," in which, rather than converting the Jews, he urged his followers to burn down their homes and synagogues and confiscate their money. Frank is now pantomiming hitting his head against his microphone, but like a good audio guy, isn't actually refusing to do it for real.
Shut up. Oh my God.
Burn down their homes and confiscate their money. I think that's a good idea. Not a good idea. I'm not actually advocating that. You and I are like, suddenly we're worried that our satire, our parody is not translating with the Jews.
Yeah.
But that's nice of the Germans.
Yeah, it is nice.
They're either 70 or 500 years late in the process, but they've finally decided, hey, we can leave the Jews alone. It's okay.
How progressive of them.
Now we just need to find phrases in the Bible that mean leave the rest of us alone.
Yeah, keep it to yourself.
Yeah.
You know that whole evangelizing thing? Stop it.
Don't.
Everybody's fine the way they are. I wouldn't have too big of a problem with Christianity if that was their
just
take on
kept
things.
to themselves.
Yeah, left everybody alone.
We had a
Said God will sort it out. Jesus, no Jesus, God will sort it out.
God will sort
We're
it out.
We're all God's children.
According to you?
Well, according to Christians.
That's what I'm saying. That was the you.
Oh, I thought you were talking to me.
According to you, Frank.
Yeah. We're confused today.
Yeah.
Oh, well.
All right.
Dan.
Yeah.
Your favorite show's coming to an end.
Match Game 76?
No, that's forever. That will never go away. You can always catch it on Game Show Network.
Yay!
Or GSN, as those in the know.
Right.
Call it No, Duck Dynasty is ending after its current season, which is season 11.
Really?
Can you fucking believe it?
I've never seen an episode of that show, but
me neither.
And I can't imagine that I would enjoy it. But there you go. The quack attack has stopped.
Yeah. Thanks to that show, it made what was it? Phil?
Yeah.
Phil Robertson, is that his name?
Yeah, that sounds right.
Douchebag McGee.
Right.
Gave him a means by which to share and project hatred into the world.
If there was somebody in the world that needed a forum, it's that bearded redneck asshole.
Yeah. Are you aware of what network airs Duck Dynasty?
Oh, it's got to be one of those like History Channel or like Discovery Channel or something.
I would have thought TLC.
Sure.
You know, the Learning Channel.
Right.
No, A&E.
Oh.
A&E.
Okay. Here's what I love about all of the channels that we just listed. None of them seem to care about what their letters actually used to stand for. None of them care about their mission or whatever it was. They've just abandoned that entirely.
Yeah, I remember when A&E just like broadcast, the opera.
Arts and entertainment?
Arts and entertainment. Like it was literally just rebroadcasts, or not even rebroadcasts, broadcasts of, arts performances.
Culture.
That's what it was.
It was culture.
I remember this distinctly because Nickelodeon, I don't know if this was just our cable service in our town of Manteca, California, that Nickelodeon went off the air like around 4 p.m, and A&E came on in its place. And I don't know if that was just a thing nationally or if it was a quirk of...
who knows?
Because clearly kids don't want to watch that crap.
No.
And adults...
apparently
are
also
going to take over the TV.
They also don't want to watch that crap, so they had to find us some rednecks.
So Phil Robertson, given a platform to spew anti-LGBT rhetoric that A&E always felt the need to distance itself from. But yet they kept airing it.
Well, he didn't do it
for them.
He didn't do it really on the show much, did he?
I'm sure they didn't do it on the show.
He just did it. He was suddenly a celebrity, which means that he got invited to go and talk places.
Yeah. And his opinion all of a sudden mattered.
Right. So much. Boy, if there's someone who in our country we should look to for pontifications about things of theological import or sociological import, surely it's the man who invented a thing that goes quack. Can we all agree on that at least? That if someone has the wherewithal to invent something that sounds to a duck, that makes a duck horny, surely that person is the person to whom we should look for sociological advice.
He knows a lot about these things, Dan.
He does. Quack. So out in the world, I think we've talked about this case before, but just so that you know, there's now been an appeal. There's an appeal happening of a case that brought by the American Humanists Association. That's less fun for me to say than the fuffer, so I don't do it. I just don't.
I was waiting. I was like, where is it?
No. That's already obvious and everybody would.
Oh.
Anyway, do you remember we talked about the Operation Christmas Child, which is a branch of Samaritan's Purse. It's a charity run by Franklin Graham.
I hate these names.
I know.
I hate these names. So Franklin Graham came up with these names?
Yes.
Good for him.
Yes, Billy Graham's son. So anyway, there have been some public schools that are participating in these very, very religious charity events.
Yeah.
So they're fighting. They're fighting this, and it's gone to a court of appeals. There's also another school that was doing a thing. Basically, so there's a group called what's it called? It's called like it's FCA, the Fellowship of Christian Athletes.
Oh yeah, good.
And they are so the FCA of a high school was going to go to Guatemala specifically, and it says this in their thing to our group's primary goal is to share the love and hope of Jesus.
Oh,
so that's good.
Nice.
Except that it was promoted not just in the high school, but they were partnering with a local non-Christian public elementary school. So the elementary school was partnering with them, and they were doing a run for the 6th graders to help do this. So yeah, the AHA also needed to get involved with that and be like, no problem with a group wanting to. I mean, I have a problem with them picking on the poor Guatemalans. I mean, go and give them food or whatever. Don't go and tell them about Jesus. That fucking sucks.
Yeah, they don't want to hear about Jesus. They want to eat.
They already have Jesus. It's fine. Just go and fucking feed the bastards.
Plenty of Jesus.
Or help.
More than enough Jesus.
Help in some way. But anyway, if that's what you want to do, FCA, you're totally okay to do that. You just can't do it. You can't support it. Public schools can't support it. I don't get why this concept is so hard.
Because those public schools, Dan, need to be a representation of the community that they're in. And this is a Christian country. Mm-hmm. Dan.
And how? It, although less so.
Less and less every day.
Every day. They lose their control.
Well, here's another way that people are trying to control, Dan.
Yeah?
Way down in Georgia.
Way down south in Georgia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's been a problem, apparently. A serious problem. Just
Did the devil go down to Georgia?
No, just a real, just a rash of women wearing hijabs.
Oh, no!
Horrible.
Oh, no!
What are they thinking?
Women. How dare they?
Covering up and being all modest-like.
Accessorizing. Rude. It's terrible. Well, surely the reason you bring this up is that someone is doing something about it.
Oh, yes. Back in 1951, Dan, we're going to take a little history lesson here.
A little tour through time.
Georgia passed a law.
A Georgia law from the 50s. That's going to be good.
No, it's an anti-masking law. Meant specifically to keep the Ku Klux Klan from donning their hoods.
Okay.
Right?
In public.
Right. While, causing problems for
committing
people.
A crime.
Yes, exactly. Right. So it was a means by which to, if they want to do something mean to a black person, they're going to have to show their face while doing it.
Right.
Well, nonetheless, fast forward, what would that be, 60 some odd years?
Yeah.
And state representative Jason Spencer has introduced House Bill 3 to rework this law just a little bit. It's already on the books. Okay. So why don't we include a little bit of language that will make it also apply to hijabs, and throw in the word she, or the words or she.
Oh my God.
And now all of a sudden, this law that's been around for a long time,
right,
and it has a very legitimate reason to exist, can be modified and also apply to Muslim women to keep them out of their hijabs while they're in public.
I mean, if you said burqa, if you said something that actually covers the whole face of a woman, I could maybe understand it.
Yes, you could actually get me on board with that one, to be honest.
That because, I mean, we had an incident here in Salt Lake City on the campus of the University of Utah on Halloween this year, where a masked man, a guy in a Halloween mask, raped a woman at gunpoint. Masks are bad for society.
Yeah.
I think we can say that, you got to show your face.
I think, here's the deal. Anonymity is bad. It's what creates internet trolls.
Yeah.
Right? It's what you need to have your identity, your face attached to your public persona. Period.
Yeah. I mean, to some extent, there's room for discussion to what extent that is necessary, but it has to be there to some extent. So I can see the burqa thing. Mm-hmm. But if you're telling a woman who's not covering her face and just covering her hair, and let me tell you something, plenty of guys in Georgia are covering their hair. Plenty of Christians are covering the tops of their heads and the sides of their heads. I mean, this is clearly just anti-Islam stuff. This is just some anti-Islam bullshit.
I find that really, isn't that what is the, you're kind of stretching this a little, Dan.
Or have I offended you?
I think this is a great idea.
Yeah. No, this is
Clearly, it would reach as far as hijabs. They are, of course, targeting veils as well.
Right, because brides are a problem, I think. I think that's a big deal. We need to make sure that we help stop the plague of brides covering.
Bride attacks.
Right. Well, what's great about this is that there may be unintended consequences.
The thing gets passed, the thing gets struck down.
Right.
And the problem is they're meddling with a law that should exist, and hopefully they're able to strike down just the parts of the rewrite of the law.
Right.
That instead of taking down a whole law with it. I don't know how these. What if there's
a master plan here to get the Muslims to sue so that the entire law gets struck down so that the Klan can come back in their hoods?
Ooh, that's devious.
Ooh,
wow, that's some House of Cards thinking right there.
That's some Breitbart masterminding right there.
Yeah, that would take a real mastermind because that's playing chess right there.
Yeah, that's several moves deep.
Yeah.
I'm going to take us to Minnesota.
Yeah.
Where I don't know if you know this, there are some Catholics scattered about this country. And this one, and I don't know if you know this about the Catholic Church, they seem to have had a couple problems with priests doing naughty things.
Young boys attacking priests. Just throwing themselves.
Viciously attacking. So there were several hundred claims of child sex abuse against the Archdiocese of St. Paul in Minneapolis, as there were in many of the archdioceses around the world. So the Roman Catholic Church, the Archdiocese of St. Paul and Minnesota, has been trying to settle some sex abuse claims against them. Originally, and they've also been trying to declare bankruptcy.
All at the same time.
Well, that's part of it. Like, part of the bankruptcy deal that they're trying to make includes a settlement with all of the people that are suing them for child sex abuse.
Oh my God!
Originally, the Archdiocese offered $65 million as their settlement.
Okay.
The 450, but with 450 claims, the plaintiffs rejected that offer.
Oh my!
Now the Archdiocese has offered $132 million to settle this, but the lawyers have also rejected that. It is as being far too little. There's precedent here. The San Diego diocese settled claims in 2007 for a total of $198 million.
Jesus!
After filing for their Chapter 11. So apparently this is what happens. And what's funny is that, like, of course, these archdioceses tried to claim, well, we don't have this much money, as though somehow there's not this larger part of the organization looming above them, with gold-lined walls. And
that is an interesting point.
Right.
How independent are these groups really when the Pope, or at least the Vatican, is appointing and administrating its leadership?
Yeah.
It's not like they're hands off. It's not like there's not a central organization. Like how
yeah.
I'm sure the dioceses are probably legally set up as independent entities,
but they are connected to a much bigger entity.
Interesting.
Here's the thing:
not officially, not probably through like deeds and
Oh yeah,
whatnot.
There's definitely some legal official affiliation. So it's not like they can claim too much. Like that San Diego diocese.
Let's say a diocese decided to go rogue. Completely 100% rogue. Could they?
I don't know. They can in China.
Could they just say, no, that's our church and that's our this? Like, who owns the shit?
That's a good question. Yeah, like, do they get to just, if they decide, if the bishop decides this is my shit now,
and everybody votes, And they're like, yeah, we're with you, Bishop. Let's form our own new thing.
Can he just keep the residents, keep the churches, keep the cathedrals, keep all of that stuff?
And just disconnect.
And just flip the bird at Rome and...
Fuck you, Pope.
And then it's all his.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Yeah.
So apparently the going rate so the reason that the $132 million settlement has been rejected is because the precedents around the country in places like San Diego, Los Angeles, which was the nation's largest Chapter 11 archdiocese, whatever, they had to pay $660 million. So that's in the realm of like both of those ended up being around $800,000 per victim. And the Twin Cities claims the Twin Cities amount would amount to $300,000 per victim. So apparently that's how much victimizing a child costs, around $800,000.
Wow.
I have nothing to say about the amount. There's no amount that can actually like fix what they did.
Exactly. And so it's like what you want to see,
but you got to make it hurt.
That's where I was going. You want to know that you've critically wounded this organization to a point where they're going to take it very seriously going forward
forever.
Like it can't be just a check that they can easily write.
Right.
They got to sell some shit off.
It's got to hurt so hard.
Yeah.
That they like actually care.
Yeah.
Because clearly, like the wrongness of the thing wasn't enough.
Right. No, sickly. You're exactly right.
Right.
The morality of what was going on, the need to protect the children in their care, essentially, in the community.
The whole Jesus thing, nowhere near enough. The whole, like, this is clearly against everything we claim we stand for, not remotely enough.
Yeah.
So, make it hurt.
Yeah.
Punch them in the gut, kick them in the balls. They need to feel They need to feel it.
Waterboard them.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
If anybody deserves to be waterboarded,
it's
a molester.
Molesting.
Especially a priest molester.
Yeah, that's a special kind. Like molestation happens often with a trusted adult, and that's the worst thing that can happen to a child. Is a trusted adult taking advantage of that trust for horrific purposes. So but a priest is a very special brand of gross.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, Dan.
Yeah.
'Tis the season.
Just hear those sleigh bells ringling. Jingling too.
It's the stores have all shifted gears.
Yeah.
The world is bedding down for a nice long Christmas season.
Ugh.
We need some healing, Dan.
What we need is
we need a sense of peace on earth and goodwill toward men right now.
I'll tell you what I need is headphones before I go into any retail store. Because if I have to hear that fucking Christmas shoes song,
music canceling headphones.
Yeah, I don't even need anything playing. I just need the cancellation of whatever's being pumped through those off. Oh, Christmas music in stores is the worst. Anyway, what do you got?
Anyway, this is actually about the stores.
Okay.
This is a naughty and nice list collected by Liberty Counsel.
Oh, Liberty Counsel, they're good. They're
good people.
They're
good people.
Yeah, we're really fond of them.
And they're trying to promote which businesses should be getting your business this holiday season,
your Christmas dollar,
and which ones should not.
Oh,
and basically the metric for a lot of this was just looking at their website, the company's website,
to see if they got any queers on there,
and seeing how many times do they use the word Christmas versus holidays.
Okay.
And it's still and trying to see if there's any reference to Jesus, nativity, or any kind of biblical elements to the this holiday season.
Oh my God.
So apparently AC Moore Arts and Crafts, company I'm not all that familiar with.
Yeah, they're not here.
However, they're really happy about them. They went from just 64 mentions of Christmas on their website last year to over 290 this year. The craft store's use of the generic term holiday has decreased by a third, and last year's Merry Mason jars are now Christmas Mason jars.
Oh,
because
good.
the Merry wasn't a close enough reference to Christmas for them.
Oh my God.
And of course,
They're
of these
terrified. These retailers are fucking terrified.
Well, there are links and telephone numbers to contact these companies right here on the website.
Of course,
right?
there are
other companies that have that are on the nice list. Barnes and Noble, they're very happy with them.
Oh,
Bath
really?
and Body Works. The terms Christmas and holiday are used interchangeably, which they have no problem with, apparently. Best Buy is on the good list.
Oh, they're Christmassy as shit over there.
I don't know that this one was needed, but ChristmasPlace.com made the list. Thank God.
They're not number one. They didn't get the number one
This one
spot?
is alphabetical, this list.
Oh, okay.
But,
okay.
Yeah. Let's see. Also, Bronner's Christmas Wonderland. They capitalize all... So it's Christmas.
Oh, wow.
They probably won number one spot.
That's pretty intense.
Hallmark did really well. Dillard's did well. Home Depot and JCPenney did well.
Oh, God. I need to know the naughty list. That's what I need. Get me off of
you
this.
need to know who not to go to this holiday season.
Oh, yeah, because I'm definitely going to...
Dan, this one's gonna hurt for you.
Yeah?
I know it's one of your favorites. American Eagle Outfitters is not.
They're not Christmassy enough?
They're not Christmassy enough. There was only a handful of Christmas references that appear in products and advertising, while the term holiday is all over the fucking place, apparently. They've been on the naughty list for 8 years now.
I might just
because
support
they have
them.
A disregard for Christmas.
I might just... because let me tell you something. I've never really never been into their store much at all. But,
yeah, me neither, really.
But if I can go...
It seems a little young for me.
Yeah, we're old. But if there's if there is a clothier somewhere in the mall, that there's a chance I might not have to hear fucking J-Lo singing about Christmas.
Well, no, see, here's the
I
deal.
will be on board.
The question isn't...
I'm on board.
...whether they're playing holiday music left and right.
I know.
It's whether J-Lo says the word Christmas. Does J-Lo sing a hymn that they're playing in the store?
I'm just saying...
Because if it's just...
It sounds to me like there's a chance... that there's a better chance there than there is on some...
Because these folks don't like walking in a winter wonderland, right? Because it's not about Jesus.
Right.
Right? Dick's Sporting Goods made the naughty list.
Good.
Bad on Dick's.
Sports has nothing to do with Christmas.
Gap. Apparently Gap kind of has fallen out of favor.
Hooray. Well, Gap has fallen out of favor with everybody, let's be honest.
J. Crew.
Okay, which is also Gap.
Is it?
Yeah, they're the same.
They bought J. Crew?
I'm pretty sure that they're all...
Banana Republic, Old Navy, and Gap.
Oh, maybe that's...
And J. Crew was always kind of off on their own.
Okay.
The Limited. They're limiting their access to Christian... I
just love it. I love that their thing... that their thing is, we need to bully everybody into, like, massive display of Christmas. It's not
Christ.
like...
They want Christ back in Christmas, goddammit.
It's so fucking weird. Like, this is just retail, dudes. You
go
guys
buy your Christmas gifts.
Just go out and buy gifts. You don't have to worry about whether or not they are about Christmas. You be about Christmas. You're buying the gifts. What the fuck is wrong? I mean, and this is, we've been hearing about the Starbucks cups and stuff. It's just like...
it's a shame.
Shut the fuck up.
Starbucks needs to do a better job
with their
of
cups.
Getting Christmas on their cups. They really fucking do. Also, apparently, I didn't even know these people were still in business. Radio Shack.
They are less and less in business, I can tell you that.
There's little usage of Christmas and no reference to Jesus' nativity or biblical elements.
Right, because they sell fucking electronics.
Yeah.
How do you reference a nativity or Jesus when you sell electronics?
Oh, Dan, you can come up with a way.
Yeah, but you shouldn't. You shouldn't. Because Jesus has nothing to do with, like, you know, your remote control car.
Jesus has everything to do with that remote control car, Dan. If it weren't for Jesus, it wouldn't work in the first place. Dan.
I need 470 ohm resistors, and can you make them in Christmas colors, please? I don't know if
I'm
that's
going
a
to
thing.
place them on the circuit board,
Right,
in the shape of a cross.
Right, exactly.
Thank you. Also, TJ Maxx. So
Okay, there you go.
stop going to TJ Maxx.
Ugh, all right.
Everyone.
Well,
Do not go for nice values.
if you guys would like to suggest someone that we should boycott, you can, because they're not Christmassy enough. You can write to us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com. Right. Yeah, make sure. I don't know. We mentioned Jesus and Christ a fuckload.
I think there's a tone in this show that they could find reason.
Shh. They're just looking for the mentions, and we got the mentions.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
We're on the nice list. Anyway, if you guys have anything you need to say to us, write to us, podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
True that. Go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist.
And while you're there, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge. Request to join, and we'll let you in.
That's right. More to come.
Hi there, Dan.
Hey, you know, if there's one thing that we need to be concerned about, it's the lesbians.
Okay.
What
is that leading to, Dan?
Can someone guide us through how through the dangers of lesbianism, I wonder?
I know who.
Yeah?
I know just the man, Dan.
Do tell.
Well, one Mr. Pat Robertson.
It's a patty break.
So we're going to hear a little clip from their show, segment from their show, and then he comes in after it.
Yeah.
Sexual encounters led to pregnancy and abortions, and more self-hatred. She turned to lesbian relationships for comfort.
When I got around with more of the gay lifestyle, then automatically I just thought that I was gay, that I was born like this. I was sleeping with everything that moved. I mean, I just became such a terrible person. And but I didn't know how any other way. I was broken inside.
Teresa says Jesus set her free from homosexuality.
From that day forth, I was completely different, and I've been completely set free after that. Never struggle with it ever, ever again.
What a story. He's able to save to the uttermost those that come to God through him. To the uttermost. A lifetime of sexual promiscuity, drug addiction, alcoholism, lesbianism, prostitution, everything you could think of. A wasted life. A wasted life. But God said, no. She's beautiful. You say, no, she's not beautiful. She's not beautiful. She's a mess. No, God said she's beautiful. You watch what I do. I'm going to make her a new person. I'm going to cleanse her. I'm going to forgive her of all those sins. Everything she's done, I'm going to wash away the guilt and the filth that's there and make her a new person. And she will be filled with the joy of the Lord, and she will become beautiful. She's my daughter. And I'll make her something beautiful.
So which is it, Pat? Is she already beautiful, or does she become beautiful? Is she beautiful when she's a mess, or is she not? Did she become beautiful when
the Lord makes her beautiful?
I think
the Lord can.
I think he's sending mixed
here's
messages.
The deal. The Lord can see your beauty, Dan. The beauty. He sees
he sees
diamond in the rough.
He sees potential.
Yes.
Beauty.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But I'm still ugly as
and then
fuck right
he takes
now.
it and he polishes.
Ooh, the Lord
and
can polish me any day.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Go ahead and polish me, baby. Here's what I love. I love that this lady was, there's this story about this lady who, she was promiscuous, and that leads to abortions.
Drugs, prostitution.
No. She never said drugs or prostitution. She said she became a lesbian. She had sex with anything that moved. That's what she said. The video that we saw shows cut to
somebody smoking
images of somebody
meth
smoking a
or
crack pipe or something.
Yeah.
And then they've made all of these inferences about her that she didn't say.
Right.
She said she was fucking everything that moves.
To be fair, we didn't see the original video. We have something that's regurgitated to us. So maybe he but I don't know. But nonetheless, the connections that she just couldn't have been a lesbian who found Christ and went back. All this other stuff has to be tied into it, and I hate this whole thing.
I hate it so much. Here's the amazing thing to me is that in the Christian mind, or in many Christian minds, one sin equals another sin equals another sin equals another sin. There's no there's no grades to the sin. It's not like there's a bad sin and an okay, or that's an okay sin, which they all know is true.
Right.
Every one of them knows.
But that these are demonic possession people. These are people who believe in that you get taken by a demon, right?
Yeah.
And he makes you, if you're a woman, want to be, have sex with other women.
Yeah.
That's just a given. That's the first thing the demon wants to do.
Right.
Right. And then
I don't blame him. I like having sex with women. I think that demon makes total sense to me.
Well, what about the gay ones?
Well,
the gay men ones.
Still sex. That demon makes sense to me too. They like sex. I think that's fine. I'm not gay, but I don't begrudge a demon wanting to. Demon wants to get his rocks off.
But that's how they see it. It's this battle between good and evil, and it's just looted.
It's so dumb.
It's just dumb.
It's so dumb.
It's dumb. And
it's funny.
This poor woman who I don't know what her life was like. No, she looks like she's probably. I mean, they cleaned her up nice for the camera, but you can kind of see
she had a hard life.
Edges.
Yeah, she had a hard life. She probably was hitting that pipe.
Yeah,
she probably was having some troubles.
Yeah, and
frankly, honestly, if it took the story of Jesus to help her feel like she had some control over herself, more power to you, baby.
I mean,
it's
to a
fine.
certain extent, if that's sure, I guess.
Whatever gets you.
She becomes a propaganda piece,
right? Which
for something pretty hateful and awful,
pretty awful, pretty bad.
Because as long as people keep thinking that all you have to do is pray the gay away,
right,
and
it's a lifestyle. It's not.
Yeah.
So she's propagating. That's no good. That's no good. Oh boy, I'll tell you what though. These I'm so steeped in my own thinking that there's I'm in a play right now, and one of my castmates is a very nice, very delightful guy who happens to be LDS. He happens to be Mormon, and I don't modulate who I am based too much based on the company I'm around, especially in the theater situation, because theater people are horrible. And
he's the one who's come walking into your world at that.
Truly.
To be honest.
Right.
Not to be rude or dismissive of the Mormon guy in the theater.
But
he's the one.
You're on my turf.
Yeah, exactly.
And you know what? We in the theater, we have to be able to sort of go to all of the places.
Yes.
So there's been some locker room talk. Not Trump-esque in any way.
No pussy grabbing talk.
No, none of it is about unwanted sex. or non-consensual
That's the key.
anything.
Yes. So you have been talking about pussies that you've grabbed.
Maybe. But not pussies that didn't want grabbing. That's all I'm saying. No, here's what we. But I have.
Distinction.
I was talking to another guy, but loudly because I'm loud, about just after my divorce from my first marriage, I was talking about how I wanted to go through a slut phase. I wanted to fuck a lot of people.
I remember this. You wouldn't shut up about it.
Because I couldn't make it happen. I don't know what the hell's wrong with me or whatever. I could not make that shit materialize. I had no game. It was no good.
Oh, damn.
But what I was saying was that if I had been gay at the time, because I had all these gay friends. I was going to gay parties. This may have been part of the problem. I was going to all sorts of gay parties. But
ironically, though, that is where you met your wife.
It is. It's true. Let me tell you something. There is something brilliant about being the only straight guy at the party.
Yeah.
Because some hot girls are going to show up at some point.
Yeah.
And they'll have to talk to me. Anyway, no, that's not true. But yeah, I was just saying if I could have been gay, and I would have loved to have been gay, I would have gotten so much cock. It would have been a parade, a cavalcade of dicks.
Just falling from the sky.
Just a goddamn revolving door of anonymous gay sex I could have had.
Yeah.
So,
absolutely, Dan.
You know that's true. Don't even play. You know that's true. But unfortunately, I'm not into that. So I had to deal with those female people.
I know.
They're different than we are, Frank.
It's just awful.
But anyway, I horrify. I'm saying poor my Mormon friend.
Everybody's heart goes out for you, Dan.
Yeah,
you just couldn't.
I'm not asking.
You just couldn't land that promiscuous stage.
I'm not asking for anybody's sympathy
because you weren't gay.
I'm just saying. Calm down. Not the point of the story.
But it's what I heard, and I'm sure it's what a lot of our listeners heard.
All I'm saying was, I wanted to have more promiscuous sex, and it turned out to be trickier than I wanted it to be. But what I'm really saying is that poor Mormon kid, he's great, and he handled it just fine, but he got awful quiet for a while. Poor guy.
Should we listen to a voicemail?
Sure, let's do it.
We have a listener who points out perhaps an error of ours.
Yeah.
This has to do with the Glenn Beck clip that we played.
Oh, where we were suddenly horrified to find ourselves agreeing with Mr. Beck.
Indeed.
Hey guys, love this show. Had to stop this show, your latest show I was listening to at the Glenn Beck part when you were talking about how reasonable he was. Yes, much of what he said was reasonable, but let's not forget the people who were afraid Barack Obama was going to round up all the Christians had no basis for that fear. Literally zero basis. They thought that because they were racist and claimed he was Muslim for no reason other than the fact that he was black. Whereas Trump has said, get rid of the Muslims, don't let any in, put them on a list. That they have a real fear. So Glenn Beck is not being reasonable because he's doing this both-siderism thing like it's the same. It's not the same. Christians had no right to have fear under Barack Obama, a Christian man. Muslims have every right to have fear under Trump. Just had to get that in. Love y'all. Here from horrible Trump land, Alvin, Texas. Thanks for the show. Bye.
Very good point.
I think that's a fair point. I mean, I don't personally, I didn't interpret what he was saying as creating a full equivalence between A and B.
Right.
What he was saying was, for you guys who are who aren't hearing the fears of the left right now, just hearken back to your own experience,
right?
And then maybe we can move forward. But absolutely true.
Absolutely true.
There's no similarity between the fears that we on the left have of this terrifying Cheeto that is threatening that is going to take over running our country,
Right.
And that delightful man who has been doing such a good job for 8 years.
Yeah.
There is no equivalence there, whatsoever.
No.
And that, yeah, exactly. We're afraid of racism. Their fears are based on racism.
Right.
That's a very big difference.
Yeah. Yeah. Very, very nice distinction there.
We had some writers in. Let me just pull up a couple of them. Hey, Frank and Dan, or Dan and Frank, says Justin from Ohio.
It's Frank and Dan.
It works either way, my friend. Either is fine. There is no official way to say it.
Oh.
Long time, first time here, he says. I just wanted to chime in with a little anecdote about this non-privileged fear that's been going on since he who shall not be named became president-elect. He really is Voldemort, isn't he? No, he's too dumb to be Voldemort.
Yeah.
But somebody in his cabinet will be Voldemort.
Yeah.
That much has become clear.
Yeah.
Anyway, I was driving through a shopping center on my way to grab some lunch or something the other day, and I passed by a brown boy wearing a shirt that had USA across the front, and the letters were colored like the flag. I couldn't help but wonder if he felt like he needed to wear that shirt out in public because he and his family are scared of how they might now be treated. It was probably just coincidence, but this is how my brain works. Anyway, keep up the work on the show.
Oh,
I mean,
I think there's a lot of fear right now.
there's a lot of fear.
I mean, clearly. So it makes sense that some of what you're seeing is a reaction.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned last week, Frank, about a woman that you presumed was Muslim and that you presumed had taken down her hijab to go out safely
to
into
go
the world.
into the downtown Smiths.
Yeah,
Which is probably a place where she's perfectly fine, but
who wants to take a risk?
I
mean, yeah. I mean, I've been fighting the impulse to go around and like shaking the hands of people that I see and saying, "Hey, I'm with you. I don't know about it. I can't vouch for everybody else here, but
we need some solidarity hijabs right now."
Yeah. Your safety pin's not doing it for you? That's not enough?
I'm not wearing one. But
The safety pin thing. Yeah. Boy, that's a back and forth, isn't it?
But
everybody's seizing.
But I'd wear a hijab.
Everybody, you'd look fetching. Just so, don't do it in Georgia. That's illegal now.
Yeah, apparently. Yeah.
Anyway, Carlos wrote into us, Frank and Dan, Michelle Bachmann. This is a reference to that Bachmann piece that we played a couple weeks ago.
That's the name that never needs to be repeated again.
Has a very short memory, or is genuinely manipulating available information to suit herself. Well, that would be shocking. She would never do such a thing. He says, it wasn't so long ago that she had a political campaign of her own. What happened to the prayers on that occasion? Not enough prayer warriors? Not enough earnest prayer? Did her deity ignore the prayers? Did it take the day off? There must have been believers praying for her campaign to win, right?
Yeah, but our God is a fickle God.
Our God is a fickle God. He's mysterious and often fucks us over.
Yeah, and capricious.
And mysterious. I think I think that's like the second verse.
Yeah.
I think I mean but this is the perennial problem with prayer. Yeah. Prayer works, and then if it doesn't work, it's either something you did or it's just God's will.
Yeah,
mysterious as it is.
You never know what he has in store for you.
It's completely unambiguous when it goes my way, and when it goes another way, who knows? No explanation necessary.
Indeed.
Hey guys, love the show. This is from Matthew. And I've been binge listening to all your podcasts. I'm so sorry, Matthew, that you've been
the early ones
to that.
Are a little rough.
I have a question. He says, during your podcasts, you guys keep it pretty light. You do a good deal of laughing and certainly take much of this silliness for what it is, a bad joke. My question is this. How do you not spin off into a raging anger? I find so much of God's stuff just maddening and want to start screaming into the night. How is this all? How is this all just ridiculous? How ridiculous? Period. End stop is what he said. How do you keep it light and not become enraged profanity laden lunatics?
It's not our way.
We do the profanity part.
Yeah.
We can be fucking profane if we want to be. Let me tell you something, Matthew. Here's the thing. Of course, shit makes us angry, and a lot of it makes me very frightened, and a lot of it makes me very I get very mad. But my life, my feelings, like my lifestyle is far too precious for me to ruin it by being mad all the time, by being hurt and by being angry all the time. I will take action. I will do.
And you'll feel those emotions.
And I'll feel the emotions. Right. But for me to dwell in that home, for that to be the home in which I dwell, my life's too nice to let that happen.
For me, it's I don't let things get to me for very long.
Right.
I have my bursts of anger and outrage and whatnot, and then it settles into just this. Okay, that happened, and now what am I going to do about it?
Right.
Right. Like,
because stewing isn't going to change anything. It's not going to help anything.
No, and I mean you can feel like I think a key thing here. And I actually might as well just kind of mention it now, is letting these moments of helplessness maybe is one of the things you might be feeling in Donald Trump's America. Letting that find some place to put it. And so actually I would like anybody in sort of the immediate vicinity around Salt Lake who would want to join up maybe for like some service projects or whatnot to send us an email.
Yeah.
podcast@thankgodimatheist.com will do. And just express your interest level. I'm planning something in the month of December.
We're going to organize a thing.
Like a food bank thing or a soup kitchen thing. We'll figure out exactly what we're going to do. Based on interest level and size of group. And
well,
blah,
and
blah,
if you
blah.
if you do write into us, let us know what your favorite charity is. We'll consider
maybe.
that as possible as one of the things
exactly.
that we might do.
But I think that like taking action, and this podcast actually has been action.
Yeah,
right. That's something that like I've had to realize, or I've come to realize, is that once a week I get to sit down and kind of talk through shit. Right. And it is active. It is something that I'm doing and placing energy into.
Yeah.
And I think we need these releases. Right.
I think so.
And some podcasters will use that as an opportunity to release their anger directly. And I think that I use this as a moment to just try to just project something a little different into the world.
Yeah, I think that our way, I think that humor is a great way of dealing with anger, of dealing with hurt, of dealing with pain, all of those things. And I think that, and so that's sort of where we go. There's nothing wrong with feeling anger. There's nothing wrong with all of that pain. And you know, if you need the catharsis of someone who's going to yell and scream, instead of laugh,
right,
then that's fine.
Oh, that's great. If that's what you need, go for it.
And that's
out
out there.
And it's available. Also, we both grew up in a culture that doesn't like anger.
It's true. We weren't well trained on anger. We can do it, but we learned it on our own.
It's more something that sits deep down inside you and simmers for a while.
See, I don't do that though.
No, you don't do that one?
No, I
do that one.
The other thing for me is that I've been to a lot of therapy. And I've done a lot of hard work. So I know where my heart feels best to live. And so like after the election, I was really fucked up about it. Mm-hmm. I went and I sat with myself, and I consciously made effort to work to process, and I processed hard because I don't want to live in that ugly, awful feeling.
Right.
And that's just not how I do.
Right.
So it's not that we're judging anybody who does things differently.
Right.
But that's just who we are. And I like it. I like that. I like being able to get through, because the only way out is through.
Right.
But I like being able to get through the pain and into a place that's still going to be active, like we said, a place that's still going to be that's not going to hide or run away from.
Right.
And maybe this is partly just a function of the privilege that we have as white males in America. But I'm not going to live in the fear. I'm not going to live in the hate. I'm not going to live in the anger.
Right.
It's just not what I'm.
As long as
do.
you're conscious of that fact, and that you still allow yourself to find action, then I think you're in a good place.
Yep.
Yeah. But otherwise, Mormon upbringing can fuck with your anger.
Yeah, Mormons are trained very well in the ways of the passive aggression, in the ways of the don't. Those are bad emotions.
Yeah.
Don't feel those emotions.
Well, and then on top of that, I'm a laugher, right? Like I laugh.
Yeah,
I find humor in almost everything.
Sure. Hey, do we have some folks to thank?
Well, we do, but we also have another voicemail.
Oh, we do. Oh, I'm so sorry.
Do we want to play the
Should we cut
one?
Should we cut that, or should we just?
No, I think that's fine. Or what?
Just cut the false lead into the people to thank, and just dive directly into the next voicemail.
Okay, let's then reintroduce it. Okay, actually, I have another voicemail.
Great.
So let's go ahead and take a listen.
Yeah.
Hey, this is Andy from Michigan for the third time. I have a question about what you guys think about Donald Trump. His whole 2 Corinthians debacle, the fact that he's never shown to be even the slightest bit religious in the past, plus he's already kind of backed down from what I've heard. He's kind of backed down on his pro-life stance. He's vowed to protect the LGBT community. Plus, he's not repealing all of Obamacare. Do you think that we might have just elected a Democrat disguised as a Republican? Not just that, but an atheist Democrat disguised as a Republican. Just want to know what you guys think. Also, love the show. Thanks.
Thanks for the call. Quite frankly, I don't care what he's disguising himself as. I'm worried about how he's acting.
By their fruits you shall know them.
Yeah, exactly.
And that man has some ugly ass fruit.
Yeah. So, I mean, I think we're starting to get a sense of who he is based on cabinet appointments, or at least who he wants to be known as.
I don't think he's anything. What we elected was not a Democrat in Republican clothing. We elected a fucking panderer.
Yeah.
Who cares only about what gets him what he wants.
Yeah.
And that's all he fucking cares about. And the fact that he is like starting to appoint people who have deep ties to white nationalists, deep ties to hateful people that are against the LGBT community. He can, like, I think what we've learned is the shit that comes out of his mouth is meaningless. So forget what his mouth says and wait until you see what he does. Because that's the only way that we know anything about this man.
Yeah.
Because his mouth just anything that's whatever pops into that bullshit brain of his.
Yeah.
Tiny brain. I mean, people talk about his hands, but let's talk about that brain. If there is one, it might just be like a medulla. That's all he's got. That might just be all he has. He like no prefrontal cortex whatsoever. He just spouts whatever comes to mind.
Yeah, yeah.
Anyway,
but we do have people to thank, Dan.
Oh, we got some thankies.
Yes.
Oh, I love this part.
People who have joined up on Patreon. They're looking for some sort of level of blessedness or what have you.
Well, yeah, we will grant them holiness.
And just as a reminder, we start off at faithful.
The faith, the lowest rung of holiness in the Thank God I'm Atheist universe.
Or the least high.
The least high. It's very, very high, but not as high as others. But the beautiful...
What's important is that it's above everything else.
It's above all of the non-faithful folks.
God damn it. So faithful, then venerable, then beatified, then saint, then pope, and then there can only be one
Savior. Now so who do we got? We got some new people at what levels?
Well, we have George coming in at faithful.
Thank
and then
you,
we
George.
have Tim and Shane, who both adjusted their
donation
level up to beatified.
They are holier than they were.
They are holier than they were. And so there's been a lot of activity at this beatified level.
Yeah.
And one of the reward at the beatified level is access to the Frank and Dan diary. So we're going to be getting another couple entries out this week for the diaries.
Yeah, this is you're going deep Frank and deep Dan, baby.
Yeah, and this is free form.
Yeah,
it's Dan on his own, it's me on my own.
And you don't know.
And
it could be 5 minutes, it could be 2 hours.
Yeah. I have a cooking clip that's going to go up this week where I just cook for an hour and a half.
I'm just water boiling. You just hear the boiling.
You hear me chopping. I'm not talking.
Chopping, some sizzle every now and then.
No, I walk through how I make my tomato sauce.
Ooh.
My pasta sauce.
Ooh, that one's a good one because, ladies and gentlemen, he was trained by somebody in Rome.
Mm-hmm.
You spent 2 of your years in Rome.
Yeah, it's true. Well, not Rome proper.
Well,
the last 10 months were in the city, and then I was in all sort of central Italy,
La Bella Italia,
Sardinia for 4 months.
That's true.
Sardinia's glorious.
So, like you've got Italian secrets that you're going to share with the world.
Yes,
if you're beatified, if you're holy enough to hear it, you can get that.
And then, of course, James is our current savior.
James.
So thank you, James.
In nomine Patri et Filii et Spiritus Sancti. Amen. More to come.
Dan.
Yes, sir.
We need to talk about something.
What do we need to talk? We always need to talk about something. It's a show where all we do is talk.
Dan,
so yes, we do need to talk about something.
Please sit down. We need to talk about something.
Am I being fired from my show?
No, Dan.
Okay.
Worse than that.
Uh-oh.
I don't have anything. I don't know what's worse. I don't know what could possibly be worse than that.
Than me being fired from my show?
Yeah, either one of us.
Yeah, no, we can't.
Suck.
That's just
we're here for the long haul.
We're in it for the duration. Here's the thing: we need to talk. What we need to talk about is action to be taken in the world. We need to talk about solidarity between our community, that being the atheist/secular community, out there in the world, and other marginalized, at-risk communities.
Yeah, and what kind of got this started was that news story about the group of Muslim students at the University of Michigan who wanted to do something to say, hey, we're here. Right. And we're a part of this community. So they decided that they were going to go and do one of their daily prayers, like somewhere in a public place on campus or whatever.
Sure.
But they also knew that the act itself could put them in a little bit of danger, right? Because they're going to be on the ground, they're going to be kneeling, they're going to be focusing on their prayer.
Right.
And they reached out to...
And strangely, they were... I don't know where they're getting this from. They seemed to be concerned that someone might not like them. What?
I know.
What? In our country, in these United States,
Yeah.
Seems impossible.
Yeah, it's really sad. So they reached out to other student groups on campus, apparently, and who they felt would naturally ally with them.
Or even unnaturally ally with them, but might join them in their...
exactly.
Yeah.
And so there was a Jewish student group and maybe one or two Christian student groups.
Right.
But they were expecting some to show up as kind of like, to just be there and be looking out for them. And instead it was like a crowd around these kids praying. And it just got me thinking about, well, I sure hope that there was the agnostic and atheist and humanists on campus were included, or that they were there. And if they weren't there, why not?
Right.
And because I think it's a really important time for our groups to be reaching out, in particular to the Muslim community, but also to other minority groups who might be feeling a little disenfranchised right now.
Right.
And and offering up dialogue and conversation about what can we be doing to be sending out the right message about our solidarity against hatred in this country.
Right.
And that's what it's really about. It's not about it might feel a little weird to be reaching out to a Muslim group that might actually be quite conservative on issues that we're not going to see eye to eye with them. Right.
There's a lot that we're not going to see eye to eye with a lot of these groups.
Right.
About.
But in this moment, we need to be really clear about what kind of country we want to be living in. And I think one of the key things is that hate just has no part of it.
Right.
And
bigotry of any kind is not what we're about.
This is a pluralistic society. We've accepted people from around the world, brought them into this country, let them come in with the promise that they're going to have a place here.
Right.
And now all of a sudden that the deal is
changing. Or is threatening.
Has the appearance of changing.
Right.
Whether or not that's for real, it's allowed people on the far right to feel really emboldened.
Right.
And they're creating a situation that...
And if you go far enough right, in any political culture, you go far enough right, you find the hate.
Oh, yeah.
And if you go far enough left, you'll find hate too.
Yeah.
And none of that's okay. So, I mean, and this, we're talking about the United States. We have a lot of international listeners.
Yeah.
But you know what? This counts for you too. This is for everybody. Here's the thing. It's not every atheist considers themselves a humanist.
Right.
But you know what? Read through the humanist values and you'll say, and most of us will say to ourselves, yeah, what we got as people who don't believe in God is us.
Right.
We got each other. Mm-hmm. We've got a planet that we live on. Mm-hmm. We got food that we have to eat.
Yep.
The only way this shit works is if we take care of each other and we take care of the earth.
Exactly.
That's the only way that we stay alive.
Right.
And that we have good lives.
Yeah.
And good lives are good.
Yes.
We want to have good lives, and we want as many people as possible, hopefully, eventually, maybe even everybody, to have a good life.
Yeah.
So coexistence, peaceful, harmonious coexistence, is the only way that works.
Yeah.
Hatred, bigotry, rejection of other humans is not okay. Now, rejection of ideologies, of philosophies, for instance, that of bigotry, that of hatred, that of homophobia, we can reject those. But we can't reject people. And our best allies in this are other marginalized, under threat groups.
Yes, absolutely.
And so
they're the ones who feel it.
Right. Unfortunately, the groups that are not under threat, the groups that are most secure, may or may not care, and probably won't, especially coming from us. Yeah. You're not going to get the Christian white leadership of our country to care about the plight of the non-believer at this moment.
No.
And they're also not going to care about the plight of the Muslim, and they're not going to care about the plight of the gay, and they're not going to care about the plight of the transgendered or the transsexual. So we need to band together. Mm-hmm. It's a time to hold hands, kids.
Yeah.
And so I guess what we wanted to talk about was reaching out.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these groups are not going to think to come to us.
Right.
They're not going, it's not going, it may not have occurred to this group of Muslims to come to a bunch of atheists and say, hey, do you guys also want to help keep us safe?
Right.
But we do.
Yep.
That's important to me to help keep people safe. Mm-hmm. So I think it's time. So I guess that's what we're getting at. Mm-hmm. Wouldn't you say is reaching out?
Yeah. Wherever you are, dear listener, and whatever
groups you belong to.
Yeah. I think this is the time for us to be doing some massive outreach efforts to, like Dan says, other marginalized groups. We need to be visible. We need to be active. We need to be making phone calls and building these connections because one of two things is going to happen, right? This is one possibility right now is that we're all worked up about Donald Trump's America in a way that it's just not going to play out, right? Things are more, it's going to suck in a lot of ways. There are going to be policies enacted that we don't agree on. There's going to be a nomination of the Supreme Court that we loathe and hate, probably. But
considering who Trump's surrounding himself with,
it's very possible.
It seems likely.
But all in all,
possible that it doesn't.
Things stay stable in this country, and in 4 years we get somebody reasonable back into office. And we're able to start working on undoing some of the damage, or the shit's going to hit the fan.
Right.
I hate to live in a world of binaries, but you just start down this road of people of there being unrest in this country and people and people being attacked for who they are. Yeah. That's the shit hitting the fan. It's a terrible outcome, and it's one of the possibilities right now.
It's happening.
But either way, it is a good thing for us to be thinking bigger than just our movement.
Right.
And it's a very good thing for us to be out there helping out and doing good in the world.
Finding common cause. Mm-hmm. This is a very important thing to be doing.
Yeah.
And
like we were talking before the show, and the thing that I'm realizing is just sort of how asleep I felt. I now realize sort of I was, right? And how sleepy I think a lot of us on the left were. I think we felt very safe. I think we felt years of progress and what that had meant. The George W. Bush years were not great, but they weren't an absolute out and out fucking disaster. And then we went into 8 years of Obama, where we've had great progress on LGBT issues. We've had horrible things happening in the country with these shootings, but it's raised a certain amount of awareness where it feels like we're working towards something. And then all of a sudden, the
pendulum swings the wrong way.
The pendulum swings, and it's like the bottom dropped out beneath us.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, this is work. This takes work. We have to be conscious of what's going around or going on around us.
Right.
And we need to be actively involved. Otherwise we're not going to get back to the point of having progress in this country.
Well, and to be clear, what we're talking about is not even a progressive versus a versus a conservative idea. I mean, you and I, our values are extremely progressive. However, I think we can all agree. I mean, even our most conservative listeners can agree that hatred, bigotry, and further marginalizing of of groups that there's no need to marginalize.
Right.
Like, we need to marginalize hate groups. We need to marginalize, we're not talking about befriending terrorists here. That's not what we're talking about.
No.
ISIS is not the group of Muslims we're talking about protecting.
We're talking about reaching out to Muslim Americans who either were born here, right?
Right.
Or came here because they were looking for a better life.
Right. And so, like, yes, there are those who there are groups that don't need protecting.
Right.
And I'm not going to say we should reach out and protect the marginalized group of, the KKK. That's not what we're doing here.
No, and I don't think I hope nobody thought that's what they were saying.
We do have common cause with a lot of these groups, and we don't have to agree with their philosophy or with their religion to believe that they have every right to be practicing that religion safely and securely, and to believe that their right to practice their religion safely is the same, and it needs to be and the protection of it helps us and protects us as well.
It's the same issue.
It's the same fucking issue.
Their freedom to practice the way they want to, or that they see as best for their life, is the exact same protection that lets us not.
Right. That gives us the chance to safely not be believers and to walk the earth safely as atheists.
Right.
So I think I think that it's important to remember that, and it's important to remember that what we're fighting for is not the right to be an atheist, but rather the right to live according to the dictates of our conscience.
Yes.
And that right is what's important.
Yes.
So yeah, if you're especially if you're like in the leadership of an atheist group, if you're part of an atheist group out there in the world, we are going to encourage you to reach out.
Yeah.
And tell us your stories about what you've had.
You already have.
And you might be rejected. Here's the other thing, kids.
Yeah.
You might reach out and they might say, fuck off. We don't want anything to do with you.
Right.
That's happened too.
Yeah.
But it's still important for us to be reaching out. It's important for them to know that we're there and there is common cause.
Yeah.
So do it. Get out there.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Dan.
Yeah.
I think that's enough of that.
I think that's enough. Shut up already, is what Frank's saying. If you guys have stuff that you'd like to talk to us about, or if you've got a story of reaching out, write into us. Podcast at thankgodimatheist.com.
Or you can call and leave us a voicemail message. The telephone number is 424-666-8442.
Yeah, go to the Facebook page, facebook.com/TGIAtheist, and see what Mackenzie's doing over there.
And while you're on Facebook, search for the TGIA Members Only Lounge and request to join. It's a closed group, but, we'll let you in.
Yeah, it's a great place.
Yeah, and I'm serious about the whole volunteering thing. If somebody wants to join me on a service project,
we're going to do it.
Or join us on a service project, then that's something we're
Frank's spearheading.
Yeah,
but it's a TGIA thing. We're going to be doing it this December. I'm guessing we'll have a shitload of fun.
Yeah, we're gonna pick something where we're able to do some good, but we're also able to chat with people
and chances are there will be a bar to which we retire afterwards. I'll just throw that out there.
Absolutely. All right. Thanks to the Red Rock Hot Club for the use of their music.
Thanks to Mackenzie for playing around on that Facebook for us.
And thank you, dear listener, for listening.
Sure do love it when you do.
Bye.